Have you ever felt like you're stuck in your career, watching others pass you by while you remain in the same place? What if I told you that the key to professional success isn't just talent, luck, or even hard work? It's your mindset. And imagine if you could rewire your brain to turn every challenge into a stepping stone, every failure into fuel, and every opportunity into growth. This is the power of the growth mindset, and it can transform how you navigate your career in today's fast-paced, competitive workplace. In a world where industries evolve almost overnight, where technology reshapes how we work, and where competition is fiercer than ever, having a fixed mindset is like showing up to a marathon wearing weights on your ankles. A fixed mindset convinces you that your skills are set in stone. You're either smart or you're not, capable or incapable, destined to succeed or destined to fail. And once you believe that, your career stalls. You hesitate to take risks, avoid challenges, and fear making mistakes. Worse, you may even watch opportunities slip away because you think you're not ready or good enough. But let's shift the lens for a moment. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication, practice, and learning. It doesn't mean everyone will become the next Elon Musk or Oprah overnight. What it means is that every skill can be improved, every mistake can become a lesson, and every setback can serve as a launchpad for something greater. In a competitive workplace, this mindset isn't just helpful, it's essential. Think about continuous learning, the first pillar of career growth in a growth mindset framework. When you see yourself as a lifelong learner, you stop tying your worth to what you know today and instead invest in what you can know tomorrow. That shift is critical because industries are changing at a pace that few could have predicted a decade ago. Take the field of marketing, for example. 10 years ago, social media marketing was in its infancy. Now, entire careers are built on mastering algorithms, data analytics, and influencer dynamics. If a marketer had decided back in 2010 that they already knew enough, they would be irrelevant today. The same goes for nearly every industry: finance, healthcare, education, technology, even trades like construction or automotive repair. New tools, platforms, and techniques emerge constantly. A growth mindset ensures you're not left behind. So, how do you apply this? It starts with adopting the habit of deliberate learning. That means carving out time each week to expand your knowledge, whether that's through online courses, books, mentorship, or simply asking thoughtful questions at work. But here's the critical difference. Instead of treating learning as a box to check, you see it as a daily investment in your long-term career resilience. For example, say you're a project manager. A fixed mindset might lead you to say, "I'm good at organizing, that's enough." A growth mindset pushes you to learn negotiation, conflict resolution, or even data visualization, skills that could elevate you from being a manager to being a leader. Now let's talk about adaptability, the second pillar. Continuous learning is useless if you don't know how to apply it in shifting circumstances. Adaptability is the skill of not just surviving change but thriving in it. And in competitive workplaces, change is the one constant. Companies restructure, roles evolve, and industries face disruption. Just look at how remote work transformed corporate culture almost overnight during the pandemic. Those who clung to rigid expectations found themselves frustrated and resistant. Those who leaned into adaptability, however, discovered new ways to balance their lives, new tools to boost productivity, and even new career opportunities that didn't exist before. Adaptability, through the lens of growth mindset, means replacing the phrase, "I can't handle this," with, "I'm learning to handle this." It reframes uncertainty from something threatening to something full of possibility. Think of someone in sales who suddenly has to learn virtual selling instead of face-to-face meetings. A fixed mindset would say, "This isn't for me, I'm not good at technology." A growth mindset reframes it. "This is challenging, but if I practice, I can get better." Over time, that person might not only adapt, but actually excel, becoming a leader in digital sales strategies and positioning themselves ahead of their peers. The third pillar is networking. Many people underestimate networking, thinking it's just about handing out business cards or adding people on LinkedIn. But in reality, networking is the ability to build authentic, mutually beneficial relationships that open doors you couldn't open alone. And guess what? Networking is also a skill that benefits tremendously from a growth mindset. In a fixed mindset, you might think, I'm just not good at talking to people. I'm too introverted. With a growth mindset, the question becomes, what small steps can I take to get better at this? Maybe it starts with initiating one new conversation a week. Maybe it's preparing 3 thoughtful questions before attending an event. Over time, these micro actions compound, and suddenly you find yourself not only more confident, but also better connected. And here's the truth. In most industries, your network is as valuable as your skills. Knowing the right people, and more importantly, having those people know you, can be the deciding factor in landing a promotion, pivoting to a new field, or getting that dream project you've always wanted. Let me illustrate with a case study. Imagine an entry-level software engineer named Sarah. When she started, she wasn't the most technically gifted on her team. She often felt overshadowed by peers who could code faster or solve problems more elegantly. But Sarah had a growth mindset. Instead of resigning herself to being average, she committed to continuous learning, spending evenings exploring new frameworks and asking senior engineers for feedback. She practiced adaptability by volunteering for projects outside her comfort zone, like collaborating with product managers or learning about user experience design. And she built her network by attending industry meetups and staying active on professional forums. 5 years later, Sarah wasn't just another engineer. She was leading a team known for her versatility and collaborative spirit. Her career didn't take off because she was naturally brilliant. It took off because she consistently invested in growth, stayed adaptable, and leveraged relationships. Sarah's story isn't extraordinary. It's what happens when you live by growth mindset principles in your career. So what can you do starting today? Ask yourself, where do you feel stuck in your career? Is it that you haven't learned anything new in the last year? Is it that you resist change because it feels uncomfortable? Or is it that you've neglected building relationships, assuming hard work alone is enough? The growth mindset challenges each of these excuses, reframing them into opportunities. Your career is not a straight ladder, but a dynamic journey with twists, turns, setbacks, and breakthroughs. And the truth is, those who thrive in a competitive workplace are not necessarily the smartest or most talented. They are the ones who refuse to stop growing. They are the ones who see every obstacle as a chance to expand, every failure as a chance to learn, and every interaction as a chance to connect. That is how you build not just a career, but a legacy. In the previous section, we explored the foundation of applying a growth mindset to career development: continuous learning, adaptability, and networking. These are the pillars that allow you to not only survive, but thrive in a competitive workplace. Now, let's move deeper into the daily strategies, the real-world applications, the practical choices you can make that transform growth mindset from a concept into a lived reality. Because mindset without action is like potential energy that never gets released. It's the choices you make every day that determine how far your career can grow. One of the most powerful but often overlooked strategies is learning how to embrace feedback. For many people, feedback feels like judgment. When your manager points out a flaw in your presentation, or when a colleague critiques the way you handled a client call, it can sting. A fixed mindset sees feedback as an attack, something that confirms your inadequacy. But a growth mindset flips the script. Feedback becomes information, a guidepost, a mirror reflecting where you are today and where you can go tomorrow. Think about the best athletes in the world. Serena Williams didn't become a legend by ignoring her coaches. She became great because she constantly welcomed feedback, even when it was uncomfortable. The same principle applies in the workplace. If you approach feedback with curiosity instead of defensiveness, you unlock a powerful tool for career advancement. Instead of saying, "They're criticizing me," you say, "They're giving me insight I didn't have before." But of course, it's not easy. Your brain is wired to protect your ego. So how do you actually train yourself to accept feedback with a growth mindset? One method is to build a small pause between hearing the feedback and reacting. In that pause, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Even if the feedback is poorly delivered, even if the person giving it doesn't have perfect communication skills, there's often a nugget of truth that can help you grow. And over time, when you actively seek out feedback, you build a reputation as someone who's coachable, adaptable, and always improving. In a competitive workplace, that reputation is pure gold. Another critical strategy is reframing failure. The word failure carries so much emotional weight. It can trigger shame, embarrassment, even fear. But when you look closely at the careers of successful people, you'll notice that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to it. Take Thomas Edison, who famously said he didn't fail thousands of times when inventing the light bulb. He simply found thousands of ways that didn't work. Or J.K. Rowling, who faced rejection after rejection before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. In a growth mindset, failure is not a verdict, it's data. It tells you what doesn't work, what skills you need to sharpen, what strategies need adjusting. Imagine you're aiming for a promotion, but don't get it. A fixed mindset might say, I'll never be good enough. A growth mindset asks, what can I do differently next time? What skills do I need to build to make myself indispensable? That reframing not only protects your confidence, but also gives you a roadmap for the next attempt. One practical way to reframe failure is through journaling. After a project that didn't go well, write down 3 things you learned and 1 action you'll take moving forward. This shifts your focus from dwelling on the loss to extracting value from the experience. Over time, this habit rewires your brain to see setbacks not as dead ends, but as detours leading to new paths. Closely tied to this is resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity. In a competitive workplace, resilience is non-negotiable. You will face rejection, setbacks, and moments where you feel out of your depth. The difference between those who thrive and those who stall often comes down to resilience. But resilience isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about acknowledging challenges and then choosing to move forward despite them. A growth mindset fuels resilience by keeping your focus on what's within your control. You may not control whether your company restructures, but you can control how you adapt to new responsibilities. You may not control whether a client rejects your proposal, but you can control how you refine it for the next opportunity. Let's bring this into a real workplace scenario. Imagine you're in sales and you've just lost a major account that you worked on for months. A fixed mindset might spiral into self-doubt, believing you're simply not cut out for sales. A growth mindset acknowledges the disappointment, but then analyzes the situation. Did you misunderstand the client's needs? Was your pitch misaligned with their priorities? What feedback can you gather for the future? By doing this, you not only recover faster, but also sharpen your skills, making you more effective in the long run. Another practical career tactic tied to growth mindset is proactive skill building. Many employees fall into the trap of only developing skills required for their current role. But the most successful professionals think beyond the present. They anticipate the future. They ask, what skills will be valuable in this industry 5 years from now? And they start building them today. For example, in the healthcare industry, professionals who embraced digital health tools and data analytics years ago are now ahead of their peers as telemedicine and health tech exploded. In finance, those who learned about blockchain and AI early are now seen as leaders in innovation. You don't need to predict the future with perfect accuracy, but if you continuously scan your industry for trends and then invest in learning, you create career insurance for yourself. Networking, which we discussed earlier, also becomes more powerful when approached with specific strategies. A growth mindset networker doesn't just collect contacts, they cultivate relationships. They follow up after conferences, share valuable resources, and look for ways to contribute before asking for favors. One practical tip is the give first mindset. When you meet someone new, think of one way you can provide value to them. It could be sharing an article relevant to their field, introducing them to someone in your circle, or simply offering encouragement. Over time, these small gestures create a network that's not only wide, but also deep. Another growth mindset strategy in career development is embracing challenges deliberately. It's natural to gravitate toward tasks you're comfortable with, but growth happens at the edge of your competence. This means volunteering for the tough project, Saying yes to leading a meeting, even if it makes you nervous, or stepping into a cross-functional role that forces you to learn new skills. Each of these challenges stretches you, and the growth mindset ensures you see the discomfort not as a signal to retreat, but as proof that you're expanding. Let's not forget the role of self-reflection. In the hustle of modern workplaces, it's easy to move from one task to another without pausing to evaluate. But self-reflection is where growth mindset crystallizes. It's where you connect the dots between effort and outcome, between challenge and progress. A simple weekly ritual could be asking yourself 3 questions. What did I try this week? What did I learn from it? How will I apply that learning next week? These questions turn your career into a continuous feedback loop, always pointing you toward growth. And here's another dimension: collaboration. Many people see career growth as an individual sport, but in reality, it's often a team effort. A growth mindset shifts your perspective from competition to collaboration. Instead of fearing that a talented colleague will outshine you, you see their strengths as opportunities to learn. Instead of hoarding knowledge to stay ahead, you share it, knowing that collective success creates more opportunities for everyone. Over time, this collaborative approach builds trust, respect, and leadership credibility. Of course, all of these strategies, feedback, reframing failure, resilience, skill building, networking, challenges, reflection, collaboration, require one more essential ingredient: consistency. Growth isn't about making dramatic changes overnight. It's about small, deliberate actions repeated over time. Just like compound interest grows your money, compound effort grows your career. Let me illustrate with a story. James started his career as a junior analyst at a large corporation. He wasn't from an elite university, and he often felt overshadowed by colleagues with prestigious backgrounds. But James committed to the growth mindset. Every week, he asked for feedback and implemented it. Every month, he volunteered for at least one task outside his comfort zone. Every quarter, he took an online course to expand his skills. And every year, he expanded his network by attending at least 2 industry events. Fast forward 7 years, and James wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. He had risen to a leadership position, respected not for being the smartest in the room, but for being the one who never stopped growing. His story shows that in a competitive workplace, consistency fueled by a growth mindset beats raw talent that refuses to evolve. So as you reflect on your own career, ask yourself, how can you build these strategies into your daily routine? Can you schedule 30 minutes a week for deliberate learning? Can you reframe the next piece of criticism as a gift instead of an insult? Can you say yes to one challenge this month that scares you? Can you take 5 minutes at the end of the week to reflect? These aren't dramatic actions, but they are the ones that build momentum. Because thriving in a competitive workplace isn't about one big leap. It's about 1,000 small steps, taken with intention, persistence, and the belief that you can always grow. In the rapidly evolving workplace of today, the ability to thrive isn't just about raw talent or degrees. It's about your mindset. Your willingness to see challenges as opportunities, to treat every obstacle as a lesson, and to approach setbacks not as evidence of failure, but as stepping stones to long-term success. This is where the growth mindset transforms careers. A competitive environment can feel overwhelming, like a crowded room where everyone is reaching for the same opportunities. Yet those who adopt this mindset find ways not only to survive, but to distinguish themselves and rise. They understand that continuous learning, strategic networking, and adaptability are not optional. They are essential skills that create resilience and unlock possibilities. When you step into a workplace buzzing with competition, it's easy to compare yourself with others. You notice colleagues who seem more polished, who speak with more confidence, or who achieve recognition faster than you. In a fixed mindset, this might trigger discouragement or insecurity. But with a growth mindset, the same scenario inspires questions. What can I learn from their approach? What habits can I adopt to sharpen my skills? How can I use feedback as a mirror rather than a weapon against my self-esteem? This reframing alone changes the course of your career because you begin to treat the workplace as a learning lab instead of a battlefield. One of the most powerful tools here is continuous learning. Gone are the days when a single degree or certification defined your career. In industries shaped by technology, digitalization, and global markets, yesterday's knowledge can become obsolete quickly. Professionals with a growth mindset embrace learning as a daily ritual, not an occasional event. They pick up new skills, attend workshops, take online courses, and remain curious about developments in their field. This habit does more than update their resumes. It signals to employers and peers that they are adaptable, forward-thinking, and resilient in the face of change. Imagine two employees, one who believes their degree from years ago is enough, and another who constantly sharpens their knowledge. When opportunities for leadership or innovation arise, who will be chosen? The answer is clear. Networking also plays a central role. In competitive environments, opportunities often emerge not just from talent, but from relationships. Yet networking isn't about collecting business cards or attending endless events. It's about cultivating authentic connections. A growth mindset transforms networking into an act of curiosity. Instead of focusing on what can I get from this person, you ask, what can I learn from their journey? How can we collaborate in meaningful ways? This openness builds trust and creates bridges that might lead to unexpected opportunities. People sense when your interest is genuine, and they are more likely to offer support, mentorship, or partnerships when you've shown respect and curiosity about their perspectives. Adaptability completes the trio of skills. In an unpredictable workplace, change is constant. Companies restructure, industries shift, and technologies disrupt established ways of doing things. Employees with fixed mindsets resist change. They cling to the familiar, fearing that new systems might expose their weaknesses. Those with growth mindsets, however, lean into change. They approach it as a chance to expand their skill sets and test their resilience. Adaptability doesn't mean abandoning your values or expertise. It means being flexible in how you apply them. When your role evolves or when external circumstances alter the workplace, adaptability allows you to pivot without losing momentum. This quality is highly prized by employers who look for team members that can help organizations navigate transitions smoothly. Real-life case studies illustrate these principles vividly. Consider Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. When he took the helm, the company faced stagnation, criticized for being slow in innovation compared to rivals like Apple and Google. Nadella brought a growth mindset culture to the entire organization, encouraging collaboration, curiosity, and adaptability. Under his leadership, Microsoft shifted its focus toward cloud computing and open source collaboration, areas that have since propelled it to remarkable success. Nadella himself credits his own career growth to a mindset of continuous learning and adaptability, reminding professionals everywhere that thriving in competition isn't about being the loudest in the room, but the most willing to evolve. Another story involves Oprah Winfrey, who started her career in television facing skepticism and outright rejection. Her initial setbacks could have easily convinced her she wasn't cut out for the industry. Instead, she reframed each failure as feedback and kept developing her voice. Over time, her authenticity, adaptability, and relentless learning turned her into one of the most influential media leaders of all time. Her career demonstrates how limiting beliefs dissolve when met with persistence and a willingness to grow beyond expectations. For those listening, the message is simple, yet profound. Thriving in a competitive workplace doesn't require perfection, it requires persistence. It's about showing up each day with the intention to learn something new, yet to connect with someone in a meaningful way, and to adapt when the road shifts beneath you. It's about seeing challenges not as dead ends, but as detours leading to new horizons. You might be thinking, this all sounds inspiring, but how do I apply it tomorrow when I walk into the office? Here are practical steps. First, commit to micro-learning. Dedicate just 15 minutes a day to read an article, listen to a podcast, or practice a skill. Over weeks and months, these small moments compound into expertise. Second, schedule intentional networking. Reach out to one colleague or professional contact each week, not to ask for favors, but to learn about their experiences. Ask genuine questions, and you'll build relationships that last. Third, train adaptability by experimenting with change in small doses. Volunteer for a new project, learn a new tool, or challenge yourself to solve a problem differently. Each experiment makes you more comfortable with uncertainty and prepares you for larger transitions. Remember, a growth mindset is not a switch you flip, it's a muscle you strengthen. Every moment of self-reflection, every attempt to learn, every effort to adapt builds resilience. And in the workplace, resilience is the ultimate differentiator. Technical skills may open doors, but mindset ensures you stay relevant once inside. As we close this video, let me remind you, your career is not defined by your current job title, your salary, or the recognition you've received so far. It's defined by your capacity to grow, to evolve, and to persist in the face of challenge. In a competitive environment, many will step back in fear of failure, but those with a growth mindset step forward. They see opportunities hidden inside difficulties, and they transform workplaces not only for themselves, but for everyone around them. If this message resonates with you, don't let it stop here. Take one step today to practice growth in your own career. Whether it's learning something new, reaching out to a mentor, or embracing change instead of resisting it, you hold the power to transform your path. And if you found value in this video, I'd love for you to continue this journey with us. Hit that follow button on Think Fresh Daily, like this video, and share it with others who want to thrive in their own careers. Together, let's build a community of learners, dreamers, and doers who believe that growth is always possible.